For those that have studied vision, you might say, well, like, okay, well, the problem isn't the eye, it's the neurological part of the brain. So I just want to, I'm looking for a pen here, I just want to show you what that looks like, what is actually one of the things that could be going on with your child, that I feel like is going on with your child, and is part of the reason for their inability to develop their visual processing skills. And so I'm just going to use my my paper here, and we're just going to talk about how the image is received. And so if you have an eyeball, okay, and you have the cornea and the iris and the stuff like that, you have the lens, and then back here you have where, I think it's the retina, I forget what this little thing's called back here, but it's where the visual image is received. And something interesting to note, that when light is coming in, it's refracted here, and as it comes here from the eye to the retina, I want to say that's the retina, so forgive me if that's the wrong technical term for what this is called, but as far as the process, I'm explaining the process right. But something that's interesting is that, you know, if your child's looking at a tree, or someone's looking at a tree, when you get back here, the image is upside down. And as far as why is it upside down, what's going on, what's that, I mean, that all has to do with the structure of movement. And part of the structure of movement is you have to have the absolute horizon of the eye. So the eye needs to have its orientation of front from back, right from left, and top from the bottom. We need to establish that in the eye, and it's perpendicular to what it is in the body. So if we look here at someone's body, okay, and we look at their absolute horizon, their orientation, okay, it's here, right through the center. But the eyes, if you look here at the eyes, okay, the absolute horizon of the eyes is perpendicular to that of the absolute horizon of the body. And so we have to work with that. Now, we're not working with each eye individually in the exercises that we're doing right now. We're just getting both eyes to work together. And so that's where we come back to this image, and we're just getting okay, I'll draw a different one. We're just getting the eyes to first establish itself to the absolute horizon of the body. So as we're looking here at the top of the head, here you have a person's eyes, okay? We want to create that association. Oh, it's that picture right there. We want to create that association of the eyes to the absolute horizon of the body. So we want to get them to equally move in either direction around the absolute horizon of the body. And that's what we're focused on right now. With this picture that I'm showing you here, because of the structure of movement, things like that, there has to be an absolute horizon of the eye, and it's what creates this structure of movement even within the eye, is the reason why your image is going upside down. So one of the big things when it comes with movement structure and things like that, what it does is when you have the right movement structure, it creates an hourglass type structure. And at this point right here, this is where the image is being flipped. And it's not that it's right side up and then it's going upside down. Like, waves are more than just this. Okay, waves are rotation. And so they're rotational. And so when the wave is vortexing, okay, and it's coming in, and it comes down to this little point, the wave is still going the same direction. But when you look at vortexing, once you get past this horizon point, the that's where you get the inverse. Like, that's where the inverse of the image happens. Even though the wave is going the same direction when it's vortexing and then coming back out. And the reason being is this is the other reason being too, is because you have images coming in and you have images going out. And so you actually have a double processing that's happening here with what's coming in and what's coming out. Because if something is coming in, something has to go out. And so what happens is you have two layers within your vortex. And I'm going to show this here. Because it's like a, it's like if you think about like a screw going into a piece of wood. Like, you have to have the wood to be able to have another substance to interact with the screw. Like, if I just did the screw in air in this particular example, the screw's not necessarily going to go anywhere. The screw needs something more physical to go into. And so as the screw is going in, the wood is coming out. And so as we look at these waves and things like that, as you as the image going in is the inside part of these layers of the vortex, right? But once you get to this point here, the image now becomes the outer layer. And that's why the object goes upside down. Because it's now the outer layer of the vortex versus the inner layer of the vortex. And so then when the upside image, when the imagery that's coming back out of the eye becomes available, it comes back upside down, it vortexes inwardly, and then when it gets to this center point, it becomes the outer image, or it becomes the outer layer of the vortex, and it's right side up again. So that's us seeing things right side up. Now, this may seem really complicated, and I've done hours and hours of mathematics, hours and hours of just movement study, things like that. And just hours and hours of studying vision to really understand what's going on. And so your first building block of vision is we have to make sure the integrity of this center point is there. And that's why we work on the absolute horizon. It's true for the body, it's true for the eye. And but I'm not going to go into huge detail about the body. You can get that all in Michelle's support plan. I highly recommend the Worried Parent Starter Kit, and you start in lesson 3 of the Worried Parent Starter Kit, and that will really go into the absolute horizon of the body and things like that. And so, but right now we're really focused on the eye. And what are we doing with these exercises? Is we're setting up this system in the eye as it's happening in the body, and the two need to coordinate and connect to each other so that you can start having hand-eye coordination, things like that, but also just having the integrity of the vision, that processing. And so what happens is if you're having a neurological imbalance for the processing, I would say that one of your major problems are here. Now, one of the reasons for that problem is that your child could be farsighted or nearsighted. And so if the structure of the eye is off, and it throws off the eye's ability to make this center point so that the image reversal can happen, and that neurological process can happen within the brain to take the image in and then bring it back out, it's going to make processing imagery processing very difficult. And this is where I come back to the colors, because all of our colors are a wave, and we need to be able to receive those waves and process the waves and do things like that. And so we have to have this movement structure that can receive the waves and interpret them, and interpret their frequencies and saturations and things like that. And that's why, as we're going through these exercises, I really emphasize using natural colors, natural reds, natural, it will be natural greens, natural, there's all natural colors to to really work with the eye, because those are the frequencies that we were meant to receive in the first place. And so so as you're working with your child and as we're doing these exercises, what we are is we're setting up this structure, and we're setting up this structure in coordination to the body. So with this first one, when we're getting that absolute horizon of the body and working on it in the head, you can work on it throughout the whole body, but right now we're just focused on it in the head, and we're getting just the head to move around the very center point of the head. And I have this here and it's exterior, but if you think of the head, like here, if you had a ball, and I just want to make this ball three-dimensional, okay? And then we got the X and the Y, and then we've got the Z axis. Oop, that didn't work very good. But to make this ball three-dimensional, the center is in the center of the ball. So if you think of a ball and you think of the very center, that's what we're moving around just here when we're coming here to the exterior of the head, which is in this image here. Like, it just lines up with the center point of the head that we want to establish. And so this is just to give you a frame of reference of where that point is, and it's really just only one dimension of it, but we want to get the head to work around that, and we want to make sure the eyes can work around that absolute horizon. And then in the next video, we'll go into more so this structure and working on that absolute horizon of the eye. We've got to take those steps of coordination slowly and efficiently, and just be constant with it. You never thought you'd have to teach your child vision, and it should just happen. And when it doesn't, like, you really get to see how amazing our bodies are and how complex they can be. Simple yet so complex they can be. And so to explain this, okay, this is also happening in the body. And if you think about it here, okay, you have the pelvis, which is your center point. We have our vortex here, and then we have the body. Got the arms and the legs, but the pelvis is central to all of our movements. And so I'd love to go into more detail, but I know that just can be overwhelming, and this might be overwhelming with where you're at right now. But I want you to understand that we're not just I'm not just blowing smoke in showing you these exercises. I've studied CVI, and I really want to help your child see. And I finally have unlocked the secrets as far as that visual processing and where the color comes into play. Michelle's work is really amazing as she's working with, she works with these processes, but she just does it naturally and works with it. And so when she's trying to teach us, it's like, I don't get that. But because I've studied the mathematics and of movement and all those types of things, I now can see the structure that she's working with and where color comes into that, and how now the color, how the body is processing those colors or not processing those colors. So I'm sure you've got lots of questions. You can ask questions in the comments, but I'll always try to do videos to have to bring me more clarity, to have it make sense, but also too, if you want to get the most out of how the body and the eyes work together, that's where you really have to go over to movementlesson.academy and really start getting into the courses there, to get more in-depth exercises of how all this is even working in the body as well. But here again, we're just really focused on CVI and that visual processing and your success in that process. So like and subscribe to the channel so that you can understand more your child's visual processing, how to work with it, and how to create those experiences in your child, whether or not they're actually be able to have those performances. I would love your child to have visual performances, but you just never know what other factors come into play, and you know there are other factors coming into play, or else you wouldn't be here. And so you just always have to keep those in mind, is that this isn't a fix. It's just the purpose is to give your child the experiences of visual development, so that the other parts of development can start happening for them. And you can start seeing progress in your child's life. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks.